Welcome, everybody, to the league. This is your commissioner speaking, and we are on to week 3. After a crazy week 2, let's get a little bit of a recap. The Voyagers were able to take down the Tanks in pretty easy fashion. The Midlands Mothmen pick up their first win of the season over the Cartel. The Rune Dogs lose for the first time. I mean, it's only 2 games, but the Rune Dogs are looking a little shaky. The Quailmen pull out a close one over the Heaters, and the Heaters have started off 0-2. It might be time to panic, and the Trolls put up an absurd amount of points. But the game of the week, the Cavs take down the Finesse by 1 point, and a very, very close one to control and keep control of the West. And the West is looking mighty fine right now. And looking at the standings here, the Cavs are 2-0, undefeated. The Trolls are 2-0. And the Dumpster Fire, as expected, are undefeated to start the season. The Tanks and the Cartel expected to be defeated on the season so far. But the Heaters are the real surprise here at 0-2, taking 2 close, tough losses. Lost to the Quailmen again this week by just over 4 points, and in week 1 lost by a field goal to the Trolls. So the Heaters are thinking they should be 2-0 right now. Instead, they're 0-2. It may be time to hit that panic button up there in Hickory Grove, and they're wondering if they should have just stayed in Guantanamo to cook a little bit longer. And right now, the West looks, again, absolutely insane. The top 3 teams in the West, the Cavs, the Finesse, and the Voyagers, have all scored more points than the entire East, all of the East teams, and only the Trolls have outscored the Voyagers by 1 point, less than a point. So the West is looking very, very strong right now. They're beating each other up right now, but it may be time for the South and the East to kind of get a little worried about these West teams coming in at the start of next week when we get into interleague play, because the West is going to be very, very strong. And honestly, the East is looking kind of mid. Yeah, the Dumpster Fire, solid, 2-0, reigning champs, all of that. But, the Voyagers have scored more points than the Dumpster Fire. The Finesse, the Cavs, and the Trolls have all scored more points than these Dumpster Fire. And the Rune Dogs, who were expected to be a top team, are looking very mid right now. Even the Tiger Sharks have scored more points than the Rune Dogs. So right now, it's the East is looking a little weak, and the South is being the South. We don't really know what the hell is going to happen there. I mean, the Heaters could go on a tear, maybe. And, I mean, maybe not now. Maybe against the East. I don't know what's going to happen there. But we'll see. Let's get into these power rankings. These power rankings. Coming in at number 12. Yeah, you got the Tanks. I mean, they've only put up 184 points on the season. They're the only team to not crack 200 just yet. Again, this team is they're in it for the long haul. They're definitely not going to push for a championship this year, and they're probably not going to make playoffs or probably have number 1 pick come next season. Coming in at number 11, the other team that says, hey, I want that number 1 pick is the Miami Cartel. They have broken 200 points, and honestly, they have not looked that bad this year. I mean, they lost a close one, only 5 points to the Mothmen last week. And they did get stomped by the Rune Dogs, but again, that was only a 30-point game, which sounds like a lot, but for the Cartel and the Rune Dogs, that's not that bad for them to be losing like that. So even though the Cartel are 0-2, they are showing signs of life and promise and maybe a little bit of hope down there in Miami. Let's see if they can keep it up. Ooh, coming in at number 10, though, you got the Hickory Grove Heaters. Again, we already talked about them. They've lost both of these games by a combined 7 points. And they're just thinking to themselves, what the hell? How did we get in this position? We gotta win. And they gotta show up this week. They have a big game against the Tiger Sharks, rivalry game. And let's see what'll happen there. That game has not kicked off yet, but as you can see at the bottom there, they will kick off at 1. The Heaters have a 4-point spread on that one to take down the Sharks. Who knows? Heaters have to win this game against the Sharks, I think, to stay relevant, because the rest of the league looks hungry and vicious right now. So Heaters have got to wake the hell up, and they got to do it fast. Coming in at number 9, you got the Midlands Mothmen. This was kind of tough to put. I didn't really know where to put these guys. As you know, I'll go ahead and put all of these other guys, the Tiger Sharks and the Quailmen, rounding out the, I guess, the bottom 6. And these 3 are kind of in the same boat right now. All of them have had a good week, and they've all had a bad week. And they're going to beat each other up here pretty soon. So that'll get taken care of in the coming weeks. But I just think the Mothmen right now, they got to win. They got to win last week. A tough win, but it was against the Cartel, and they only beat them by 5 points. So can they do it again? They have a tough matchup against the Rune Dogs, but the Rune Dogs look beatable. So if the Mothmen can pull that off, they can probably start moving up. Again, the Tiger Sharks have got to play these Heaters to, I guess, get back, because they looked like straight ass last week. And the Quailmen have a big-time game against the Trolls this week, and they're already losing that matchup 23-0, and they should still show some fight here in the rest of that game. We'll see if they can do that, and if they can take down the Trolls, then they're definitely going to move up these power rankings. Coming in for the top 6 at number 6, dropping down a few spots, you got the Long Island Rune Dogs. Man, I don't know what happened to this team. I mean, maybe it's just some jitters, some what have yous. I'm not sure. I mean, Jalen Hurts didn't look too good. Derrick Henry only put up a point. He had a fumble in a game where the Ravens won 41-17. This guy only had 11 carries for 23 yards and a fumble. I mean, the only person that looked good on this team last week was Sun God Amon-Ra St. Brown, and he had 3 fucking touchdowns in an explosion game for him. And Rune Dogs have got to get back on track here. Thankfully, again, they've got a little bit of an easier task this week against these Mothmen. We'll see what happens up there. And oh wait, where are they playing? Hold on, let me check my notes. Yeah, they're at home. That's what I thought. So they're in Long Island. We'll see what's coming. We'll see what's gonna happen. Coming in at number 5, you got the Vietnam Voyagers. Took a tough loss week 1 to the undefeated Cavaliers. Lost by 11 points, and then went and took all that anger out on the Tanks last week. Beat them by 35. Right, something like that. A fuckload. And now they've got a pretty tough task in the Finesse this week. The Voyagers are winning that game by a field goal right now. We'll see if they can keep that up against a tough game in the Finesse. Coming in at number 4, the aforementioned LA Finesse. Same deal as the Voyagers pretty much. Both teams looking very strong. Finesse are losing right now, but this should be a good matchup out there in LA. We'll get to that one in a little bit. Coming in at number 3, coming up the polls, you got the Charleston Trolls. Looking mighty fine here to start the season. We all knew this team was capable of doing this. I just didn't think they put up 175. And they've got another tough matchup against the Quailmen this week. You never know what Dan's going to put out and what his teams are going to do. But right now, the Trolls are up 23-0. We'll see if they can keep that one going and get into that top 2. Coming in at number 2, dropping down a spot, maybe a little controversial. I've got the Columbia Dumpster Fire. And again, they're undefeated, reigning champs. They've got the Cartel this week, so that's a win. Unless I don't unless crazy upset, but you know the Dumpster Fire did beat the Rune Dogs only by a touchdown last week, and they did beat the fuck out of the Mothmen by 30 in week 1. But they haven't really shown us that they can blow the doors off scoring wise this year. Yeah, they put up almost 150, but like I said at the start of the video, there are 4 or 5 teams that have scored more than them as of right now. So I'm waiting on this Dumpster Fire explosion game, and maybe they can, beat up on the Cartel a little bit this week and show us what they're made of. Coming in at number 1, coming up to number 1, maybe the first time this team has ever been here, you have the Cameron Cavaliers. And Coach Chunks has taken over this team, and everyone's loving it. They are loving it. Long gone, I think, are the days of the wise guys. And the Cavs, again, taking down the Voyagers week 1 and then just squeaking out a win last week against the Finesse. And now they've got a little bit of a cupcake week, a rest week. They got the Tanks, and they should win that game by about 30. And where the hell are they playing? They're at home against the Tanks. Should be fine. Should be an easy win for them. Maybe the Tanks will pull off a crazy upset. I don't know. Let's get into these matchups, though. Matchup number 1, you got the 1-1 Midlands Mothmen at the 1-1 Long Island Rune Dogs. It's weird saying anything and something that's not a 0 next to the Rune Dogs, but they are not undefeated. And Rune Dogs are winning this game 8-0. But it says the Mothmen actually are in favor of winning this game. Very surprising. I don't know if that's gonna stick. She got 7.5 out of her kicker. That's pretty damn good. 8 out of a kicker, not bad, not the best, but we'll see what's gonna go on up there in Long Island, and if these Rune Dogs can get back on their feet, so to speak. Matchup number 2, you got the Tenement Square Tanks at the undefeated Cameron Cavaliers. This one should be pretty cut and dry. The Tanks are winning 1-0. Josh Palmer got 1 catch for 5 yards, so the most boring score ever. So the Tanks are just looking bad right now, but they do have some bright spots. Drake May is looking pretty solid. Chuba Hubbard is okay, but they're already looking a little bit injured, and this team, the defense is very solid for this Tanks team, but they're going to need some offense if they're going to take down the likes of the Cavs and everybody else in the West, and hell, anybody else in the fucking league, even the Cartel. I am very excited to see the Tanks and Cartel game later on this year, but this one should be pretty easy for the Cavs. We'll check in a little bit later in that game. Matchup number 3, you got the 1-1 Tampa Bay Tiger Sharks at the 0-2 Hickory Grove Heaters. Personally, I thought this should have been a rivalry game of the week, but it's not. Right now, this game has not kicked off just yet. Again, the Heaters they are projected to win by about 4 points, and again, all of the Heaters games have been one score, close matchups. But the Heaters have got a new quarterback in. They've got Marcus Mariota, who, I can't believe he's going to start Mariota over Caleb Williams. How did Caleb Williams do last week? Caleb Williams is okay. He's the 10th ranked quarterback. He's a starter, and he's going to start Mariota. Maybe they want a spark. Maybe they just think Mariota will have a flash in the pan kind of game to just get them something they need. Get over the hump, get a win over the Tiger Sharks. The rest of the team is not pulling their weight right now. I mean, even A.J. Brown is having an abysmal start to the season. Hasn't even scored 7 points overall on the season. Got 6 catches for like 35 yards. That's pretty ass. And his running backs aren't doing too well. Chase Brown is supposed to be that guy. He's only got 20 points on the season. And even Zay Flowers, who was traded to these Heaters from these Tiger Sharks last year for Kyler Murray and a second. And Kyler Murray's been jumping around the league, I guess. He's looked pretty solid. He looked good week 1. Last week he looked pretty mid. we're looking to get him a little bit more. The rest of this team really needs to step up. As for the Tiger Sharks, Baker Mayfield, woo! He's just killing it right now. Very, very solid starter in there. Breece Hall, he needs to get better. I mean, I don't know. Breece Hall has always been kind of just whatever. Like, he doesn't have that breakaway speed, but he's very good between the tackles, but he hasn't gotten a touchdown this year. He hasn't been able to put up over 16 points in a game yet. Waiting on him to have a big, big day. And honestly, the same could be said for Mike Evans. Mike Evans has only put up under 16 points over the entire season. No touchdowns as well. So I think it's time for Mike Evans to kind of wake the hell up as well out there in Tampa and see if, because this is a big game. If Tiger Sharks win and they knock down the Heaters might be out of the playoffs already before interleague play even starts. If the Heaters win and the Tiger Sharks lose, obviously they'd both be 1-2 and then still fighting to keep up with the Quailmen and the Trolls, and we'll see what happens in that game. Because matchup number 4, we got the 0-2 Miami Cartel at the 2-0 Columbia Dumpster Fire. Right now, the Dumpster Fire are up 22-13. Again, this should be a bloodbath. But the Dumpster Fire haven't looked amazing this year so far, and the Cartel haven't looked like complete garbage ass. They're still ass, but they're not, they're not completely shitty. And I'm not saying the Cartel have a chance, but they've got, they've got a chance to, get some real world practice in against a solid team and see how they do. But yeah, this should be an easy one for the Dumpster Fire. Rivalry game of the week. You've got the Charleston Trolls undefeated at 2-0 at the 1-1 French Quarter Quailmen. The Trolls are up 23-0 already, and they got a solid game out of James Cook already, who's looked amazing to start the season. Scores of 19, 25, 19. Now that is a number 1 running back. He's looked fantastic this year. He's already got 4 touchdowns. Couldn't ask for a better start to the season there over there in Charleston. However, his other guy, Keon Coleman, has looked kind of poopy the last couple of weeks. Week 1, he did very well, but So maybe he's more of a wishy-washy kind of guy. They don't want that out there in Charleston. I know they want guys that are a little bit more solid. However, it didn't matter last week as they put the beat down last week. Trolls, though, are only projected to win this game by 6 points, even though they have a 23-point head start, basically. So the Quailmen are going to look to fight back. They really need Herbert and Bijan Robinson, and they need Sam Laporta to do something. I mean, there was a reason that I traded this guy, because he looked amazing his rookie year for the Voyagers. He was, top 2, top 3 tight end, and then last year, he was very mediocre. He was only the, Actually, no. Laporta was the number 1 ranked tight end his rookie season. Last year, he dropped down to the number 7 guy, and this year, he's the number 13 guy. He's not even a starting tight end, technically. So they really need him to wake the hell up. They need Debo to kind of continue what he did his last couple of weeks. He's looked very solid to start the season as well. And they need this defense to wake up. Sauce Gardner, yeah, he's a really good football player, but is he a good fantasy football player? Not so much. Myles Garrett has looked very solid on the defensive line. And it looks like the Trolls have picked up TJ Watt, who was released last week by the Voyagers. Longtime Voyager for, years and years. And he was on the team for 5 years, since 2020, since COVID. And the Voyagers finally waived him last week because he's looked very mediocre this season. And the Trolls have picked him up in hopes that he can bring a little bit of life to that defensive line out there in Charleston. We'll see what happens. On to the game of the week. You've got the 1-1 Vietnam Voyagers at the 1-1 LA Finesse. And right now, this game is 17-13. It's looking like a very, very good matchup. The Finesse are projected to win by 8 points. They are at home. So this is a very, very big matchup. The Voyagers have had quarterback controversy all over. They don't know who to fucking start. This week, they're going to go with Jared Goff against Baltimore. Goff went off last week. They didn't need him to, though, because they were playing the Tanks. But this week, they're going to need some help because the Finesse have got Mahomes, and even though the Chiefs are 0-2, Mahomes is not necessarily the reason fantasy-wise. He's looked fantastic. Running backs in this one are pretty solid, but this is a wide receiver matchup right here. We got Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb, Puka Nacua, and Devontae Adams. So this is teammates battling, and then two of arguably, well, the top wide receiver in the league versus a top 5 guy in CeeDee Lamb. This should be a very, very good matchup. Tight ends, you got Kelsey, Juwan Johnson, fantastic. At flex, you got Jordan Mason, and then Tyreek Hill, who's already put up 13 points. So Mason's going to be starting out in Minnesota. We'll see what he does with all of that work. And it looks like the Voyagers are going to go with Wan'Dale Robinson, while the Finesse are going to roll with Jakobi Meyers. Jakobi Meyers, I think, let this team down just a little bit. All he needed was a few more yards, and they would have won the game against the Cavs last week. Didn't happen. Reports say he looked very distraught in the locker room, saying he's let his team down and hopes to bounce back this week. Wan'Dale was benched last week and went off, so coach saw that, recognized that. He's got himself starting this week. This should be a fantastic matchup. Great kickers, decent defense here. So this might be a little bit higher scoring than what it says here, even though it's 142-134 is the projected score, which is pretty high. It may get even higher than that, depending on what these quarterbacks do and these crazy receivers do. But this should be a good matchup. Ready for it. Let's get on to the predictions. Thank you, E-Man, for making the picks this week. Amazing video. Last week, Hunter went 4-2 on his picks. He only missed the Finesse and Cavs game, 1 point, rough. And he missed the Tiger Sharks and Trolls, which honestly, I mean, after week 1, I think we were all picking the Tiger Sharks to win, but hey, those tides are turning. But E-Man made the picks this week. He picked the Room Dogs over the Mothmen. He's got the Cavaliers over the Tanks, easy. He's got the Heaters over the Tiger Sharks in a rivalry game. He's got the Dumpster Fire over the Cartel, easy. He's got the Trolls over the Quailmen in the rivalry game of the week. I would say fairly easy pick, but not undoable for the Quailmen. And he's got his own Finesse over my Voyagers, which obviously you almost never pick against yourself unless you're the Trolls or the Tanks. But yeah, these look like pretty good picks to me. I disagree with one of them in particular. So maybe 5. I'm hoping for 5-1 out of this, and we'll see what happens. Let's get on to golf. Very interesting shit here. So Graydon is obviously now way up at number 1. Last week, let me check my notes here. Last week, Graydon was, he was all the way down in 11th place. 11th. At 2 over par. Now he's at 5 under. And I was checking the league stats of golf. And Graydon, again, he had 7 birdies last week. And while that is not a record, because the record is actually currently held by, I think it was all the way back in 2023 when, Hunter on hole number 3 had 8 birdies on hole 3. However, he also had 3 bogeys. So Hunter went crazy that day. 8 birdies, 3 bogeys for only a 5 under. But 7 under score on one day is a new record. The only teams that have ever gotten close to that, which interestingly enough was, where is it? Where the hell is it? I think it was Graydon. I thought it was right here. No? Well, P-Man got 1, 2, 3, 4. P-Man got 6 under on hole 2 last year, which and no bogey, so he got 6 under on one day. Dan had 6 under on hole 3 last year, so no one's ever had a better score at the end of the day than Graydon just pulled off last week with 7 birdies, no bogeys, and that catapulted him to the top of the standings here. So congrats, Graydon, on, I guess, breaking a record. I don't know. Is that a record? I don't know. We'll see. But Chunks has got punched down to second, even though he still had a pretty good week. E-Man and Mandy tied at 2 under. Dan sitting there by his lonesome at 1 under. Me and P-Man just chilling at even. Rico and Matt 1 over. Hunter 2 over. Very strange to see Hunter down there, but as Mr. E-Man put it, guy doesn't know how to pick a fucking lineup. And again, golf is a way to test how good you are at setting your lineup each week. This is kind of a test of that. And Sam and Rabo down there at 3 over. Sometimes it doesn't matter how good you set your lineup, though. If your team sucks ass, then you're probably going to have a bad golf score. That's just how it's going. So it is very strange to see an undefeated team in Hunter being 2 over. So we'll see what's going to happen there. But congrats to Graydon on the great week. And keep it up. And that's pretty much it, guys. Running a little long on this one. Good luck, everybody, this week, except for the LA Finesse. I hope you lose. And yeah, that's about it. Cheers.